Hello, my name is Yuxin. This presentation focuses on developing an internationalization strategy for Otis oat milk. Otis oat milk is the first New Zealand oat milk made from homegrown oats, which is now sold in supermarkets such as Countdown throughout the country. As a New Zealand-based startup, Otis focuses on innovation to continuously improve product taste, performance, and qualities. The firm recently expanded into the Singapore market. To better understand its current situation, the macro environment, industry competition, and firm resources and capabilities need to be analyzed to identify opportunities and challenges. Based on the pastoral analysis, 6 major factors are supportive government policies for food companies, decreased purchasing power, increased health and environmental awareness, development of e-commerce, and New Zealand's advantages in producing crops and food safety standards. Overall, there are many opportunities in the external environment for Otis to expand its business. According to Porter's 5 forces analysis, the New Zealand plant-based milk industry faces high competition, medium threat of new entrants, low supplier power, high buyer power, and a high threat of substitutes. Overall, the highly competitive environment indicates the low potential profitability of the New Zealand market. Thus, Otis should expand into overseas market for further growth. Also, as a startup, Otis has limited resources. The VIO analysis shows that Otis has 4 key strategic resources and capabilities: well-established supplier networks, strong innovation capabilities, large-scale manufacturing facilities, and overseas operation experience. These indicate that Otis has available resources and capabilities for foreign expansion. Based on their bio-analysis, Otis needs an internationalization strategy to expand into new markets to mitigate risks in its current markets, such as potential decrease in sales and fierce competition, while fully utilizing its resources and opportunities, such as government-supportive policies and increasing demand for sustainable products. Otis had made efforts to expand its markets by entering Singapore. Although it allows Otis to accumulate foreign expansion experience, the Singapore market has a very limited size and fierce competition. Thus, Otis needs a further internationalization strategy to seek new markets to increase its business skills. To develop an effective strategy, firms need to understand the propensity to internationalize. Otis, as a startup, is much smaller than established firms, such as Fonterra. Moreover, New Zealand domestic market is relatively small. For example, New Zealand plant milk sales in 2019 are $144 million, much lower than American $2 billion. Thus, Otis is regarded as a follower internationalizer. It should follow large counterparts as a supplier to enter overseas markets due to the limited size and growth opportunities in the domestic market. Guided by this principle, the firm should first identify the most promising country to enter based on strategic goals and location-specific advantages. As discussed above, the strategic goal for Otis is to seek new markets. Thus, the target host country should have a strong demand for oat milk. Asia-Pacific dominates the global oat milk market with a revenue share of over 45% in 2020. China is the most promising country as its oat milk sales increased by 800% in 2020 and are expected to grow at 2.7% per year on average. From the institutional perspective, both formal and informal institutional differences between New Zealand and China are significant. For formal institutions, New Zealand uses a common law system, while China adopts a civil law system, indicating that the processes for interpreting and enforcing laws are different between the two countries. For informal institutions, they show differences in several cultural dimensions. For instance, New Zealand is an individualistic and indulgent society, while China is a collectivist and restrained society. It can lead to different perceptions of what is an expected and ethical products. However, this will not significantly influence Chinese market attractiveness, as from the strategic viewpoint, goals are much more critical than institutional considerations. Moreover, Otis has experience in operating in Singapore, which has a similar culture to China. Thus, entering the Chinese market enables Otis to create and use synergies between its two international markets. For entry timing, Otis should follow the first movers to enter China. Firstly, Otis lacks enough resources for pioneering investments. The late entry allows it to benefit from first-mover investment in areas like customer education. Secondly, given the huge institutional differences between New Zealand and China, being a late mover enables Otis to learn from the first mover's experience, increasing the possibility of success. Moreover, Otis should choose a small-scale entry. Firstly, Otis is a small firm with very limited resources. Thus, in the initial stage, Otis should fully utilize its existing core resources and capabilities in New Zealand, rather than heavily investing in China to build completely new capabilities. From the institutional-based perspective, due to the large institutional differences between New Zealand and China, Otis should focus on learning by doing through incremental investments to gain a better understanding of Chinese market. The small-scale entry suggests a non-equity entry mode. The most suitable one is indirect export, exporting through third parties. Firstly, it allows Otis to reach economies of scale to fully utilize its large-scale manufacturing capacities that are currently under construction. Secondly, it helps Otis overcome the institution differences between New Zealand and China, as agents know the market well. Thirdly, it is the lowest cost entry mode, allowing Otis to go abroad with relatively limited resources. However, the major disadvantage of this mode is the lack of direct customer contact, making it difficult to learn from foreign markets. To reduce this limitation, Otis can build an online platform to connect with overseas markets and learn from their suggestions. Thus, the proposed overall strategy for Otis is to enter the Chinese market as a late mover through indirect exports. Specifically, Otis should choose the first-tier cities, such as Shanghai, as a beachhead market because there are more customers with high purchasing power. Secondly, Otis should utilize the e-commerce opportunity by partnering with local agents, such as Tmall International. As a single business firm, the business-level strategy and corporate-level strategy of Otis are in the same direction. The diversification strategy framework will then be used to consider the proposed strategy at a higher level. Specifically, Otis should adopt a market development strategy, offering its existing product in the new markets. It helps Otis be focused and use its limited resources efficiently. Institutions will influence the proposed strategy in three aspects. Firstly, the major regulatory risk in China is its weak IP protection, which can lead to brand theft that will damage firms' profitability and reputation. For trade barriers, the recent New Zealand-China upgraded free trade agreements reduce tariffs on many New Zealand exports. It will significantly facilitate the strategy. For the informal institutions, New Zealand food enjoys country of origin advantages in China, allowing Otis to export its product at a high price-quality relation. Thank you.